The following program is brought to you by Naleo TV, the people's platform. Aloha, and welcome to another episode of Classic Car Chronicles, the story behind the rides. Today, we have a 1932 Ford Phaeton and its owner, Dick Scritchfield. Aloha, Scritch.
Aloha, good morning.
I know everybody calls you Scritch, right?
Yep, that's right.
Yep.
That's the easiest way.
Yes. And you brought your wonderful 1932 Ford Phaeton.
Right. I like to get it out all I can.
So, how many of these are there on the island?
This is the only one that I know of on the island.
It's the only one I've seen.
Probably not too many even in America.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I did see one at SEMA one time.
Yeah.
And no, not SEMA. I'm sorry. I saw one at Barrett-Jackson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it had all these, the same thing, like the little glass with it was very nice.
Great.
But nothing beats this.
Well, thank you. It's been a fun car all these many years I've had it.
You've had it over 50 years. Is that correct?
Well, something like that. I originally got it in 1964.
Oh, okay. So it's
been run a lot and traveled a lot and
so you've had it 61 years. Wow.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so okay. So let's hear the story of how this came to be.
It was somewhat abandoned in Australia, and what happened? I was the correspondence secretary for the LA Roadster Club at that time, where I was a member, and so I received a letter from a fellow in Australia, and in the background he sent some pictures, or one was a couple of one Phaeton in the back, and I said, "Do you have any more?" And he said, "Oh, yeah." And I said, "I've been looking for one for about 10 years or better."
Wow.
Because I already had a 32 Roadster, but I needed a 32 Phaeton, of course. And so he said, "Oh, there's a few around." I said, "Well, could you get me one?" He said, "Well, yeah." He says, "What do you want?" And I says, "Well, as complete as possible." So he said, "Well, I can get you a body for $35. And I said, "No, I'd prefer to have it on a chassis where it can roll and move it around halfway."
Mm-hmm.
So he said, "Well, that'll run about 100. And I said, "Okay, that's a good deal." So I checked on the freight on getting it from Australia to Los Angeles at the time where I lived. And it was like $400.
Now,
So
for 1960, was that a lot of money?
Well, it was a fair price.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we made the arrangement, and he shipped it to me, and I've got some pictures when it came into the terminal there, and I couldn't get the car because it was on a holiday weekend. So, but they did let me in to take pictures of it. That was the main thing.
Wow.
And he sent it just like a letter with my address on the front door and his return address on the back door. Yeah.
Like a letter.
And it was just piled high with parts. I mean, the fenders, and it came with no front end, sheet metal.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was all piled inside. And luckily, even the top bows were with it, which are very rare to come up with, and side curtain frames.
Wow.
So, yeah, so it was really complete as far as what there was to work with. But it looked pretty sad to most everybody's eyes.
But now this was going to be a restoration job that you were going to tackle?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was, I was with, I don't know, with Car Craft at that time, magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I started at it, see where I'd get. And then as things came along, I got thinking of what I wanted and the way of the dual side mounts and a slightly chopped top to clean it up because they sit so high in the air with the top and everything. So I figured, well, I can chop 2 inches out of the windshield, and by sliding the top bows down the metals, I could get it all
Oh,
in
so
a
you
nice.
actually did modify.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
but I didn't have to chop up the top bows or anything. And so it's chopped a bit, and then of course we worked over the 32 frame to lower everything, and it finally ended up pretty much the way I wanted. It took about a year.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so worked on it a lot nights and weekends, and a friend of mine worked in a body shop at a one of the agencies body shops there in Glendale, California. And so we put it there in the shop, and we worked on it at nights and weekends in a regular commercial garage or
Wow.
body shop. And the fellow that helped me with it was a real artist, and eventually he ended up working for me. He was just too good to be in a production shop.
So back when you were in LA, you had a shop?
Yeah, I eventually ended up with a shop before I moved over here.
Okay.
Yeah, called
And was that basically body or actually specific to restorations?
it was well, just direct restoration. We didn't work on late model cars.
Oh,
We didn't
okay.
work for insurance companies.
Right.
In fact, I wrote a letter once to AAA and told them I didn't want any of their business. I'm sure no body shop ever did that before. But we were primarily into body and paint, and we'd farm out engine work, of course, but then we'd assemble everything and get it to go. And
So out of curiosity, how many times have you painted this car?
I think only twice. The first time I did it was good, and then about 1989, when I decided to come to Hawaii, I thought, well, I'd redo it. So at that time, I had built a new frame for it. I had the original 32 frame, and they were kind of loose, and you go over corners
Uh-huh.
or ridges, and the frame would move around. So then I had one of the frame companies there put in solid cross members and finish it off inside. And then we mounted the Ford 302 Ford motor and Ford transmission and Lincoln Versailles rear end, because instead of fooling with a Ford rear end 9-inch, say, and then convert it with disc brakes and all, you could get a Lincoln that had everything already done.
Right.
So I had to use the Lincoln rear end and stayed all Ford. I wanted this one all Ford. And away we went. But it's been cross country several times and
Wow.
from LA, and it's got over 140,000 miles on it, and still runs good. When I was with Peterson Publishing, I was an advertising manager, so I'd take the guys out to lunch for like Vic Edelbrock and different ones
Hmm.
in the Phaeton, and they'd always park us right up in the front of the big restaurants there in Hollywood
Nice.
with the Ferraris and everything.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's had a good life, and it's been a good old car running along,
And so nowadays, your the car's part of the Paradise Cruisers,
right?
and that's a weekly thing.
Oh yeah. When I first moved here, there wasn't much going on for club wise, and so I thought, oh, let's see if we can get some of the guys together, and a bunch of the car guys. We had a kind of a party one night and said, hey, let's get a club started. So we had that
And
was
you
the
you you
beginning.
do that a lot. What tell us about your club in LA?
Oh, well, yeah, that was much the same. This was back in '56 and '57. Well, the that was when the hot V8s, Chevys and stuff were coming along,
Hmm.
and early cars, the 32, the hot rods were kind of disappearing. And so I thought, oh, we better save this. So
You mean so as late as the 50s, already
yeah,
the hot rods, the
we're
30?
starting to
Wow.
disappear. So I said, well, we got to get something going. And so I got hold of Tex Smith, who was at that time one of the editors of Hot Rod Magazine. And they'd been doing a few features on hot rods. And I said, hey, let me have the phone number and address and some of these guys' names, and I'd call them and see if they'd be interested. And they were. And then when I'd see a car on the street, a hot rod, I'd stop it and talk to them. And then I ran an ad in the newspaper.
Wow.
And said we were going to have a meeting in such and such a place. And away it went.
And that was LA Roadsters, right?
That's the LA Roadsters.
And that's still going today.
Still going, put on a big show on Father's Day every year at Pomona Fairgrounds.
So what do you think? What is the membership now? Do you know?
They were always pretty tight. For the first, probably 20, 30 years, it was limited to 25 members.
Wow.
And then we started.
I like that idea, though.
Yeah. And we started an associate membership thing for guys that didn't live in the LA area.
Oh, okay.
And by that way, we could produce enough heads to put on a big show,
Right.
which it took a lot. And when I was with Peterson and company and traveling around the country, I'd stop by and see these guys and inspect their cars and take pictures of it
Wow.
for the club.
Yeah.
And so then many of them were approved and came into the club. And so I suppose now they're running around, 50 members, including associates.
Yeah.
And the ones that are left over, and like myself, have gone to life membership from being honorary members.
Well, we're glad that you're here on this island.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
We have some credibility here with you here. So that's always a great thing, because you are, like, to a lot of us, even myself, considered a legend. I'm sorry to say, you are a legend.
Well, thank
so
you very much.
We're very proud to have you here on this island.
Thank you. You guys embarrass me every now and then.
And we love this car.
Yeah,
So, and again,
thank
this
you.
is one of my favorites as well in the clubs.
Yeah, it's a very rare car, and so it's interesting.
So I want to thank you so much for coming.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
I think now we need to go for a ride.
Uh-oh, look out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go. So let's check it out.
Sounds good.
Few vehicles capture the spirit of early American motoring like the 1932 Ford Phaeton. Part of the legendary Ford Model B and V8 lineup, the Phaeton was a bold, open-air touring car that blended style, innovation, and freedom, embodying the golden age of American automobile craftsmanship. At its core, the 32 Phaeton stood out as one of the first mass-produced cars to offer a powerful flathead V8 engine, an engineering breakthrough that made high-performance driving more accessible to everyday Americans. This V8, paired with the car's lightweight body and agile chassis, helped spark the hot rod revolution that would follow in the post-war years. Today, a well-preserved or restored 32 Ford Phaeton is a prized piece of Americana, representing innovation, rebellion, and the raw beauty of early automotive design. Whether roaring across the screen in a film, adventure, or gleaming at a classic car meet, the Ford Phaeton remains a symbol of a bygone era that still speaks to the heart of car lovers everywhere. There you have it, another Classic Car Chronicles. Till next time, aloha.